Animation has the power to transform your designs. What used to be static can become engaging, interactive, and difficult to ignore. You can use animation in your portfolios, mobile application, websites, and lots more. I used to spend lots of hours prototyping in Figma, but now with Jitter, I can still get same results with just a single click. In this video, I'll show you how to use Jitter to create simple and clean animations using my portfolio as a case study. And with that, you can now learn how to replicate this same animation in any use case that you want. Let's dive right into Jitter. To access Jitter, I simply go to jitter.video and then I go through the login details if I haven't. But if you have, it takes me to this home page, and then you can even browse through the templates to get inspiration on what to do. But if you want to create your animation from scratch, you go to the files and then you click on create new file. In my use case, I'm going to be using my portfolio as a case study to demonstrate this animation. So on my portfolio, I have this static design here. So I want to change this particular design into a simple animation, and I'll do that using Jitter. So I will go to my Figma and copy the design from my Figma. For me to be able to copy it, I have to have installed Jitter plugin to my Figma. So if you haven't installed Jitter plugin, go ahead to install it by clicking on these plugins and then click on manage plugins, search for Jitter and install. But if you have, you can simply go to plugins and then click on Jitter animation. Now you copy it to Jitter. Now that it has copied, we go back to Jitter to paste this design. So yeah, there are different ways to start. If you already know what to do, you could just start with your animation. But if you want AI to help you with inspiration, you can see this icon here. So you can click on it, and once you click on it, AI now asks you what particular mode do you want. Do you want playful, bold? So I'm going to use the thematic mode and click on brainstorm. Then I will give AI some time to be able to brainstorm for me and give me the best animation for this particular design. Now that AI is done, it has given us a very simple animation and I kind of like it. We use the thematic mode and I love the outcome. So I can simply just pick this up and insert it in my portfolio. So let's move back to my portfolio. I also want to do another animation on my portfolio. So I'm going to see which one to use. So on this particular screen, I can see that I have static designs here, but I want to change this screen into a very interactive one. So I go back to my Figma to copy this design. Now that we have our designs on our Jitter, we are going to move ahead to our animation. However, on this screen, I want to tell a story of the progression of these screens. So this is going to be the splash screen. And then when someone clicks on this button, it leads the person to this homepage screen. And when they click on car repairs, it leads the person to this next screen. And when they select any option, it takes them to the loading screen. So that's the flow I want it to go through. So on this particular first screen, I want it to zoom in into this frame. So I'm going to look for a zoom in effect. So for you to be able to add an animation, we have two tabs here, design and animate. This design tab is if you want to change some things on your designs, but if you want to move over to animate, you just click on this animate tab. And once you click on new animate, there are different preset animations we have here. So we have the fade in, slide in, and for my case, I want it to zoom in. So I'm going to check if I have something like that already here. Let's see this go in. Okay, this did not start from the beginning, so we are going to move this timeline back to the beginning so that our animation is going to start from 0 seconds. And once we play it, okay, so this is more like what I want. So once it moves in, I take the timeline to where it stops moving in. So I want, like when I click on this button, the next screen is showing. But then on this button, I want it to have some kind of interactions on this button. Then I double click on the screen to get to the button side. So you can see this semicircle here. I want it that when it clicks, this semicircle is going to rotate round. So I'm going to see if I'll be able to add an animation on this circle. So we have here on the preset animations, all the circle, none of them is rotating. So we are now going to use our custom animation. And then since we want it to rotate, we are going to click on rotate. How do you want it to rotate? Okay, let's try 180 and let's see how it's rotating. Okay, I want it to rotate round. So let's make it 360 degrees. So let's go back and play it. Okay, so while it's also rotating, I want this arrow inside the circle to beep, like it's rotating and the arrow inside of it is also beeping. So I'll click on the arrow and go to new animation. The arrow is not really showing here because it's white, but I will check carefully to see if there is a kind of, let's see this max expand. Okay, yes, it's beeping, but then I want the beeping to happen at the same time when the semicircle is also rotating. So I'll shift the timeline under the semicircle, and then once the circle is rotating, our arrow is also beeping. So for this same button, I want to add a little bit of animation on this text. So we are going to click on this text and then we go to new animation. On this preset, I don't like any of the animation, so I go to custom and I want it to scale a little bit, but not too much. This is too much. Let's try 110 and see how much it scales. Okay, 110 is okay. And I want all of this to happen at the same time, so I move it under the initial one. So now the circle is rotating, the arrow is beeping, and the text is also moving. So that means once you click on it, it moves to the next screen. So now that we are done with this first animation, we are going to now bring in our second screen. So we move to the end of the timer to bring in the second screen. So on this our second screen, we are going to copy it and paste it in our screen. So now that we have it, we want the first screen to slide out while the second screen is sliding in. So we go back to our splash screen and then we have the animation. So we want under the out, because the first screen at this point is going out. So on the out, we want it to slide out. And we want the direction to be not towards the right, but towards the left, because it's sliding to the left. Then once it's halfway through, we are now going to bring in our second screen. So we are going to add the animation and then we also use sliding. Let's see how it is. So you can see our second screen is coming from the left. I don't want that, but I want it to come from the right. So we change our direction to come from the right. So we can see both of them is now coming at the same time. So as the first screen is going out, the second screen is coming in, but I want it to happen very fast. So I'm going to reduce the timing to be very short. So let us see how it is now. Yes, so you can see it's much faster now. Let's play from the beginning to see how it is. So this is more realistic. So once it comes to our second screen, I want it that once you click on this car repairs, it's going to show that something has been clicked on it. And for me to show it is by adding stroke, increasing the size a little bit. We double click on it to get to the frame. So now that we are on the frame, remember that our timeline is going to be at the end of the last, so that the next animation is going to start after the most recent one. So now that we have this frame, so let's click on new animation, and on this preset, I'm not seeing anything that fits into a clickable animation. So we are going to go to custom, and since I want to add stroke, let's click on stroke. So let's increase the width to like 1 point. Okay, let's say 1. Let's see how it is. Oh, see here is black, so it does not fit what it is here. For us to be able to edit what we've done before, we click on the last timeline and then it takes us back to the details of that particular animation, so we can proceed to edit it. So let's change our width to 1.5 and probably our color to fit what we are designing. So let's use this color and let's see how it is. So this is much better. So still on this timeline, when the stroke is increasing, we also want the size to increase. So we are going to click on the card again and add a second animation. So on this animation, we are going to use custom and we are going to use scale because we want it to increase. Oh, 150 is too much. Let's see 100. Okay, I'm not really seeing any. Let's make it 105. Let's try it. So you can see that as it's clicking, the card is increasing. And we are done with this, our second screen. So let's play this last animation to see how it is. So you can see as it's increasing, this shows that that particular card is being clicked. Let me zoom in so we can see what I'm saying. We are now going to go to the last timeline. Should we reduce the time a little bit so that everything is going to happen so fast? All right, let's see how it is now. So you can see, yes. So we can decide on how we want the animation to be, whether it's the smooth, but I kind of like, okay, let me see how this accelerates is and see if it fits. Let's try. I think I still like my smooth, what it was initially. Let's check it again and see. Yes. So we are going to move to the end of the timeline. And now that we are done with our second screen, we are now going to introduce the third screen. So before this third screen comes into play, we want our second screen to slide out. The same thing that we have replicated before. So since it's the same thing, we can just come to our timeline. You can see here is slide out. We copy it and we go to this same place. We click on the more that we want to slide out to paste that same animation that we've already done before. And once we click on it, you can see that the screen is already sliding out. So we now want to bring in the third screen halfway through. So we click on this third screen and we copy. We go back to our main screen and paste it there. So once it's there, we want, as the second screen is sliding left, the third screen should also slide in. So we are going to copy the same animation that we've done before and we come to our timeline, click on the card services screen, that's this particular screen, and paste the animation so that as it's going out, the second one is also coming in. So we can see second one is also coming in. So we go to the end of our timeline. So the next animation we want on this is that there are some hidden things on this body. So I want it to scroll up because what I want to select is below. So I want it, so you can see there are some hidden things below. So I want it to scroll up once it gets to this screen. So for me to be able to move it, I click on new animation. And again, we don't have that move animation here. So we go to our custom and then we look for move. So let's see. Oh, so Jitter has moved this to the right. So you can see move X. So we want it to move vertically, not horizontally. So our X is going to be static, that's 0. Then we want it to move on the Y axis. So we are going to change our Y axis. But where is it moving from? So we are going to add an initial value. So on the Y axis, it's on 0. That is where it is currently. Then we want it to now move down. And for it to move down, it has to come to the negative part of our Y axis. And let's say it's now going to be minus 300. So this is what we do in our daily mathematics. We have the x-axis, the y-axis, and once it's moving down means that it's coming to the negative part of the y-axis. So this 300 is not enough. Let's see 500. Okay, so let's just add 50 so that it's going to move down. It's going to show that we have selected this particular card. So once it moves down on this point, we are pretty much done with the animation that we want to showcase on this particular screen. So let's go back to see it moves to the third screen and then it moves up. Wow. So you can see it moves off. So we are going to go to the end screen and then bring in our last screen, which is this one. So before we bring in our last screen again, we are going to repeat the slide out and the slide in. So we just come to the timeline, copy it, and then we go back to the end of the timeline. We click on the card services that we want to slide out. That's the third screen. And then we paste it. So once it's halfway through, we bring in our last screen, which is the loading screen. So we come in here and we copy it. So we go to our main screen and paste it there. So remember that as the previous screen is sliding out, the next screen is also sliding in. So we go and we copy the animation that we've done before. We go back to our timeline, click on the review services, that's the review, and then we paste the animation. So once we test it, you can see it's coming in, and then we are on the last screen. So on this last screen, you can see that we have a loader. So I want it to show that, okay, this is loading from the beginning to the end. And for me to achieve that, I want this loader to go with size. So I will click on it and then go to new animation. I have to go to custom to get what I want. So I'll click on the resize because I want it to go in size. So how is it going from the initial value? Now we are going to deal with width and the height. So since I want it to go from this point to this point, this is the width, because the height is from top to bottom, right? The width is from left to right. So we are going to focus on the width. So on this width, I want it to increase from 10, that's what we are going to set the initial value to, like, let's say 400. Oh, so you can see that our anchor point is at the center. So you can see it's going on the center. I want it to go from this left to the right. So we are going to change our anchor points to the left. So once you click on the anchor points, you see this left here. So it's now going to go from here, from the left to the right. So now we can see that this 400 is too much. So let's reduce it to like 300. Perfect. So now we have our complete screen and it's going. So let's go back to the beginning part to play it. So let's play and see. So we can reduce the timing to here, and then we want to make it to loop from the beginning to the end. So we can see that it's playing everything like at once, and just like that we have our complete animation. And of course I can use this on my portfolio. So for me to be able to use it on my portfolio, I can click on the export, and here I'm using the free version. If you have the paid version, you'll be able to access every other exporting style we have here. So me, on my free version, I can export on 480, 750, GIF and Lottie file. So once I export it, I can now bring it into my portfolio and use it. With this, we have successfully created simple animations using Jitter. Why not go back to try out these simple steps I've shown in this video for different use cases, like in your social media app, website, and any other use case of your choice. See you next time.